Everybody, let me see if it's bringing us live in here. Welcome, welcome. I don't see me going live on. Let's see, disable camera. It shows that we're live. I don't see us on. Well, hi, everybody. Let's hope that we're live in Instagram and we're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube. If not, you'll be seeing this recorded. So welcome. Today, I have a special guest in front of me. Well, they're all special, but this one's particularly special to me. Her name is Racyne Parker, and she is a singer-songwriter, primarily country. I've been so excited about this for the last couple of weeks. We ran into each other. I don't even know when it was, in our hometown, which is Klamath Falls, Oregon. And I said, I need to interview you. And she's like, let's do it. Let's do it. And then the day got away from us and life got busy. And here I decided to circle back the wagons, and here we are.
Yeah. And it took us a minute to find a time, but I'm so glad that we're doing it now. So thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, and organizing our calendars, because I never thought in my life there would be somebody that would be like that besides me, and I think I found her.
It's me.
Yay! Here we go. So prior to starting our live interview, which I'm hoping is working, I have been listening to Racyne's music for a number of years. And when I listen to Racyne's music, there's a piece of my soul that just turns on. And today it was emotional. Like, I was literally listening to her music and getting emotional. And here's why. I'm from Klamath Falls, Oregon, originally, as is Racyne. And it is a tumbleweed town, according to some of her music. And it's a very unique place. And it can be a hard place. But when you go through the hard times, there's so many beautiful people and places and things there that pull us through, right?
Yeah.
And when I was listening to her music today, it took me back to Klamath Falls, to my children's childhood, which was at the same age as Racyne's childhood. And we'll get to why we know each other. And Racyne, I don't even know where to start with you, but let's talk about, first off, I love your family. They are so dear to me. And I had dinner with them a couple of years ago in Klamath Falls, and it was the best night ever. And Holly was there. I don't think James was there. And your dad and your bonus mom, I don't know if you call her mama or what, but
yeah,
we were all there together, and we had such a great time fellowshipping. And Mom is a good friend of mine. I want to talk about your dad, though. The Lost River Boys, right?
The Lost River Band, yeah.
The Lost River Band. Okay,
Yes.
The Little River Band was my favorite, but I did not know this for many years about your dad. So let's talk about how you got into music, why music is important to you, and what it means to you today.
Sure, yeah. So I think that you touched on it right there. My dad was in the Lost River Band. It was Raymond Parker in the Lost River Band for my whole life, basically. So as a kid, I knew that music and playing a gig or playing a show was a thing that you could do, because my dad would have band practice a couple days a week, and then it would say, I've got a gig this weekend at the Legion or whatever. And this is all in Klamath Falls. So yeah. Or I think back then too, they would play like Molly's Truck Stop. Back when Molly's was still there, and they would play like these super late, super long gigs. I never actually got to go to those because like kids weren't allowed, but I'd get to hang out at band practice, or I'd get to like at a county fair or something. He'd let me come up and sing with him in the band or play the tambourine. So I've known since I was a little kid that it was something you could do. And my dad is a songwriter, as well as they would do his originals as well as some covers and stuff. So I just grew up with a lot of music on that side of things. And then I feel like my mom, my bonus mom, and my mom, my whole family, there was always music playing, just on every car ride, every dinner, there was always the radio on, or a CD spinning. So it's always been a huge part of my life in that way. And then I started writing songs when I was a little kid. In fact, you'll appreciate this, because the very first like full song I wrote was about Holly when she was born. I wrote this like big sister song. I think I was in the 3rd or 4th grade when I wrote it. And so I just have always been writing. I always knew it was something you could do. So I've been writing songs basically my whole life, but I kind of moved away from it in high school because of sports and all the other obligations that we all had at that time when we were all being, really active in Klamath in our schools. And then kind of came back around to making music again in a more meaningful way throughout college. And it was my senior year of college that I was like, I'm going to go record some of these songs. Like, I've been writing songs. My dad has recorded songs. I know it's something we can do. And my dad actually was the one who was like, you should go record those. You've been working on them, go record them. So he was one of the first people to tell me to go do it, and has been, one of my, if not my biggest supporter, one of my biggest supporters the whole time. So that's how it all started, was really it really started with my family. And now, like, that is what keeps me connected to my family and so many other people, is this music thing, which is why I love it so much. Is we're trying to tell stories and get at emotions and feelings. Some of them are more complicated than others, kind of like what Klamath is for us. But we're trying to get that. I'm trying to get that told, those stories told now.
Well, I mean, you do it in such a beautiful way. Like I said, when we first came on, you saw me, I was choked up because, oh my gosh, number one, I love Tumbleweed Town. I mean, your song, Will You Go With Me? There's a piece in there where you said, if all I ever get to be is me, choked me up.
Yeah.
And that's so true. I'm 56. Most women, maybe not, I don't know about men, but I could speak for a lot of women. We spend our whole lives trying to fit in, trying to be the best at something, trying to be the most pretty. Maybe not everybody, but it's just, I think the way society kind of brings that about in us, right? To be the best mom, to be someone's wife or girlfriend or sister. But when you said, if all I get to be is me, like, that just like hit me right in the heart. Because if we can find, in my opinion, somebody or something or ourselves where we love ourselves enough just to get to be me, isn't that a beautiful thing?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And for me too, it's that I get a lot of folks will ask me, as I've done music as a career, sort of how it's going. How's that music thing going? Have you made it? Are you making it? Have you made it? And so that line specifically comes from, saying, I feel that I have, just because I feel really happy with what I'm doing. And I'm proud of who I am within that space. And so exactly what you're talking about, like, if you can tap into that, that feeling within yourself that you are enough to, you don't have to have done anything crazier other than just be you, then you've made it. So like, that's cool that you resonated with that line, because that's totally where it comes from, is that space.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you have such beautiful mentors. I mean, maybe Natalie and Kiki are demons behind the scenes, but what I see in them, they are some of the most incredible women I've ever met. And your mom, Natalie, and I, we just get each other. We could pick up the phone or the text like we did yesterday, trying to get her on a camping trip. And we can just,
good luck.
She said she might. So, but we can, I know, right? I told her we need it. I go, we need this. She doesn't know yet, but she needs this. She's got a year coming at her that's going to be interesting. Although she said Holly might move home, so that will help.
Yes.
Which reminds me, by the way, Holly, I messaged with Holly yesterday, said something about you guys being gorgeous. And she goes, she gets her looks from me. So
yeah,
FYI.
She's been saying that since she was in like the 3rd grade. She's been saying that.
Well, when you need to have a chat with her. When I first opened your website, that picture that comes up, oh my gosh, it could be Holly. You and Holly look so much alike. I did not realize that. I would have never thought that until I saw that picture again and then see the similarities.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your album and Will You Go With Me, and what you're hoping to, it's such a beautiful album. You're going to be going on I want to say a tour, but you're going to be performing all around, and then you're going to be going back into, I'm double-sided you here with, or coming at you with multiple questions. You're going back to Klamath Falls at the end of July. So twofold question.
Yeah.
What is your long-term goal? And then
Mhm.
share with me what it's like to go back to good old Clamabama, Clamtucky, Clamet,
Yeah.
all the names, going
Yeah.
back there and performing in front of your home crowd.
Yeah, I think that from the goal perspective, if I can the true goal, the true dream is to be able to keep making music in a sustainable way, in a career centered way, where I can afford to do it and afford to live and pay my bills.
Yeah.
And so that is it's a balance, it's a line, and it's a dream that I am constantly working towards. And that's why summers get really busy, is because that's when I get the opportunity to go play for a lot of folks, and that helps keep that goal alive, because I get to play for a lot of people in different places, and ideally sell some merch, and ideally, make some money along the way to keep the business afloat. And then I do get back to Klamath to play at least once a year. This is I think the sixth fair that I've done in Klamath, which, as you know, the Klamath County Fair is like the big event of the year in a lot
Yes.
of ways for our
Yes.
community. And so, like, growing up, I was always like, I'm going to play at the Klamath County Fair. And so now that I
No
get to do that,
way.
it feels very special, because it's just a huge community event. And I've become pals with, a lot of the folks who run the fair, and they're just super
Mm,
sweet in having me back. But getting to play back home is so fun, because I get to run into people that I haven't seen in years. And
yeah.
whether we meant to or not, it's always fun to catch up, as well as, like, Klamath has changed a lot
Mm.
since I've moved away, and so it's kind of fun to check in and just see, like, all the differences that are there now that I wouldn't have anticipated. Like, we have a Chipotle now. That's pretty
Who
exciting.
would have thought? A Chipotle of all businesses.
Really,
I was
yeah,
so pumped.
pretty big deal. Amongst, like, the meeting, I've met a lot of new people in Klamath who have moved to Klamath, and maybe
Yes.
don't have that, like, they don't have that. Um, they see Klamath very differently than folks who are from there. So it's kind of fun
Yes.
to get their perspective and chat, and just, everybody who moves there it loves it. And so it kind of brings the magic back, I think, a little bit too. So plus I get to see my family, which,
Yeah.
they're great. So I get to visit with my family for the weekend and hang out with them. I stay with them while I'm there, and we go do fun things. Then I go play some, play some music, and then I go hang out with my family. So it's one of my favorite trips of the year, and I've been doing it for, I think, the sixth. I think this is the sixth year. So
Yeah.
yeah, it means a lot, and I love getting to do it. So I'm looking
I
forward to
wish
it this year.
Yeah, I wish I could go. I'm going to be in San Francisco that weekend for work, but I have no doubt you'll kill it. And
Yeah,
Klamath Falls is lucky that you come back there and share your beautiful voice with them. And it's I think Klamath Falls, it will always have a special place in my heart. I live in Salem, Oregon now. I haven't lived there. Kelly and I moved away 6 years ago, and we really love Salem. But when I go back, when I first left, it was not. It was it was much easier for me to go and leave. And now, as I get older, when I go, it's much harder for me to leave and not be
yeah,
sad. Because really, all the coolest people I know are all there, or I
yeah,
met them there.
right,
So, and there's a huge his story of my family, of your family, all there. And so
yeah,
I want to dive into that a little bit. So I know you because years ago, our daughters played on my husband's coached basketball team. And your dad is he is as competitive as my husband, as I am. And I just love that about him so much. But
yeah,
he's competitive in such a way that it's not mean, and it's not, because we're from a small town. There was that small town rival, KU versus Mazama, Mazama versus Henley. And your parents, they were never mean, or you never got
yeah,
nasty about it.
no,
What I'd love for you to share is how growing up in Klamath Falls impacted you in writing your music. And then I want to get on those horses of your family. And your mom keeps saying that she's going to have me down there to ride horses, because that was my dream as a little girl, is to be a cowgirl.
yeah,
And so tell me about growing up in Klamath Falls, the sports, the horses, all of it,
yeah,
and how it's impacted your writing, made it more
yeah.
soulful.
Well, I think that all of those, I feel like have had such a unique upbringing in many ways because I do have my two homes, my mom's house and my dad's house, and they were never more than like 15 minutes apart from each other. So I had this like very unique experience of growing up really embedded in Klamath in many ways. Like from the ag side, you know, my dad's side, we always had horses. Sometimes had cows. We were working cows for people. You know, it was very much like that rural lifestyle, that ag-based lifestyle. And then at my mom's, it was more like getting to go to the movies in Klamath and do the small town things without the ag things, if that makes sense. So I really feel like I've got the full spectrum of what Klamath is and has to offer people. And I think that all of that has, that is what I write about, is how I've moved away from that now and miss it all the time, but also am happy to have moved, but miss it all the time. Right. So it's that like dichotomy between wishing I'd stayed, glad I left, you know, just sort of all those things, because I did have a really just wonderful childhood growing up there. And then the sports component we talked about, like sports and high school sports in Klamath felt back then too, I don't know how it feels now, but they felt like a big deal. It felt like it mattered. It felt like, you know, everybody grew up playing, and then, you know, you would see each other, you know, like I played, I think for Kelly when I was in 5th or 6th grade. And then you're playing against and with those same girls your whole life, you know, your whole youth. So like you grow up with all these people, and just like that sense of community is so strong. And then it fosters like very intense competition because you know everybody so well.
Right.
And which is so fun. And like in retrospect, it was such a blast to have these, you know, crosstown rivalries and stuff. Because they were, at least from what I remember, like it very rarely got mean. It was competitive. It was just competitive. Yeah. And that actually like led to, I don't know, I think in the writing piece of that has just sort of, I think, helped me withstand a lot of the ups and downs of trying to have a music career. I feel like I'm pretty resilient because of the sports thing and going on and playing in college, and sort of the sports mentality and mindset and the fitness associated with it and the mental grind. Like all of what I do now feels easy comparatively.
Right.
Because it just made me really tough, I think, in a lot of ways. So I think that it may not impact, the sports themselves may not impact the writing, but it definitely has made me feel very resilient in trying to build a music business as a small independent artist. So all of that just has factored into all of the songs in some way or another.
Absolutely. Yes. I think people that come out of the region where we lived, they've got grit. And I think that's something that's obviously so important in what you do. It was super important in my life. In fact, I don't know if you know Paul Poach. He was my high school basketball coach. And
I do know Paul Poach.
Okay. Was he your principal? He might've been your principal at Henley.
No,
I think, for a while.
He has kiddos who I think are about my age. And I went to high school with Kaylee. So
okay. Yeah. So he was my high school basketball coach, and he was hard. Like his wife and I are friends, and I was telling her the other day, I said, you know, I wouldn't have been able to make it through. I'm a cancer survivor. I would not have been able to make it through cancer treatment if it wasn't for my experience with Paul, because he dug in deep to where we were, to find the grit that we needed to be able to be a successful team. And I use that same grit in my life in every facet. And I attribute it to it. There's a little bit of small town. Obviously there's a little bit of, because I was on this specific team at this specific time with this specific person, but I see that a lot in people who come out of small towns. And that grit, it seems to be what is kind of what I see across the board. But interestingly enough, there is several other musicians that have come out of our area. I think Ryan Stevenson being probably one of the one that's pretty well known. Gavin Rhinus for a while was making a go of it. I don't know if you remember Gavin Rhinus.
I don't know that I knew Gavin, but I know, but I knew, continue.
Yeah, that was years and years and years ago. But so I feel like, to your point, the grit of starting this business, going to Seattle, now you've got a new place tell me about your community where you're at with music. And do you find that same niche where you're at with what you had in Klamath?
So I've been in this north of Seattle for about 2 years now. I was in Colorado before that for about 5 years. And so my music, like the business itself, the foundation of it was really built. I started making music in Klamath and then moved to Colorado and really built the foundation in Colorado a lot more intentionally, just because there was more opportunity, because I was in a bigger place. But I still feel very connected to our small but mighty Klamath music scene. But so I built a lot in Colorado, but I had to learn a lot because it was the first, like, I went to college in Salem, but I was always coming home every summer. So it was like the first time I'd lived
you went to college in Salem, Oregon?
Yeah, I went to Willamette.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I forgot about that. So you're literally, I can see Willamette pretty much from my window here. Yeah.
Yeah,
anyway, keep going.
That's my old stomping grounds right there.
Oh my gosh. Keep Salem weird is what they say.
Keep Salem weird. I love that. Yeah, so besides living in Salem, Denver was like the biggest place I'd ever lived. So I had to sort of learn how to meet people and network kind of and make friends in a bigger place, because coming from Klamath, it's kind of inherent. You're just sort of part of the community, and like you become friends with people because you see them all the time. Whereas in a bigger place, you have to be a little more intentional about it. So I learned a lot growing my music stuff in Colorado over those 5 years. And then moving here, it was like kind of like starting over again, but not really, because I had more experience and was more familiar with how to do it in a way that felt productive. It was still kind of hard. I won't lie. It was still kind of hard, but I knew, okay, here's what I need to do to make myself part of this music scene. And so far here, it's been really lovely, because armed with the knowledge I gained from Denver, here in Seattle, I've been able to like fairly easily make friends and be part of the independent artist scene here. It's also fairly small considering how large Seattle and the region is. But I just have gone to a lot of people's shows and made friends along the way. I'm also quite outgoing, which has helped a lot. Like, I think if you are really not very outgoing or very introverted, it would be a lot tougher, but I don't mind chatting. I'm pretty great at chatting. So that has helped a lot too here. And so I've met a bunch of folks who play as a band for me when I need to have a full band and do a bigger show. So I have some friends who will come play, which has been really fun and a blast. And they all have multiple bands themselves. So I just feel like it was a lot easier getting plugged in here than it was when I first left our hometown. That initial gap was a little different. So I've been loving it. I miss the sun, parts of the year, but I've been loving it generally.
Yeah. You are, I think out of Salem and Portland, Seattle is the next like gloomiest place, right? So
Salem too. Salem's winters are tough.
It's tough. Like, I get so tired of it. I'm like, literally a couple of years ago, I was sitting in my car in February and I'm like, I have to get out of this place. I can't, we come from the city of sunshine with 265 days of sun a year. Then we come up here where it's like 265 days of dreary, rainy. I'm like, no, I'm a sun girl.
It's not good for your mental health. It's
not at all. So I love that you've found a community where you're at. You're in Macklemore land, where he was like the independent guy, right?
Yes, totally.
He sings about Seattle and all of his stuff all the time. He's one of my favorite. But Hannah and I actually saw him in New York on one of my trips to see one of my cancer doctors. And we were in this really small venue. We were literally like reaching out our hand to him. And it was so much fun. I know, it was great. People brought their kids. There were little kids in this, and you know how some concerts get, but people were not missing out on their Macklemore. And that was kind of at the height of his, so he did this thing where he would announce like a month before he would go for a major concert, but then he would announce like a month before, I'm going to also play at this smaller venue.
Oh yeah.
And so luckily Hannah got me tickets. Oh no, what just happened? Oh, hang on just a sec. Oh, yes, our screen just went blank. It was a Mother's Day gift for me for for Hannah's Mother Day gift to me. So it was super
Yeah.
fun. I love to hear that you've found your community and that you have no problem talking, because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I want to know, when you are writing music, where do you go? Where's your favorite place to be? When you were growing up,
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I think that all of my songs that I've felt have been the easiest to write or have come the quickest have usually been I've been driving somewhere. So like usually some sort of mindless activity. I mean, not that driving's mindless, but something where you can sort of switch off your overthinkingness because you're stuck in your car, or like the shower, or just places that you pretty much a bunch of those songs all started in a mindset that was I wasn't overthinking my own life or problems or anything like that. I was you're stuck in a spot, and so your mind kind of can wander and find what you're trying to sing about. So I think that generally speaking, probably like 60 or 70% of the songs I've written have come that way. But I pretty much always start with some lyrics and a melody or something will come first. And I've heard other songwriters talk about this, and I used to kind of roll my eyes at them because I thought they were just being kind of dramatic about it. But they would say, "Oh, it just sort of like falls in your lap," and I'd be like, "Yeah, but you had to work at it, But
Yeah.
it's true that a lot of, like, especially the songs on the album I just did, like almost all of them, they just somehow it just happens. You just come up with an idea and like it just flows right out of you. And I feel like I've tried other songs where I'll sit down and I'm like, I'm going to write a song today, and I can't do it. And so there is like some sort of, energy or magic in the air that lets you sort of articulate what you're trying to say at certain moments. Then it's not always there. So there is a bit of mystery to it, but I love that feeling. It's so wonderful. And then you can go back and edit it and make it and hone it and do all the things. But getting that first initial draft out is always, it's just like such a rewarding feeling. So usually in the car, usually I'm driving somewhere.
I do my best work in the car, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that you said that. It's so beautiful that you said it kind of comes out of nowhere, almost like there's a little magic that happens within it as well. And I definitely am a woo-woo girl, and I believe in all of the woo-woo stuff. And so on that note, I would love to know, when you sing on stage, in your car, is there a special place in your body, in your mind, that you feel it the most? Like, where do you feel it in?
I think as I'm thinking about this, if I'm in a situation where I feel very like relaxed, because a lot of times if I'm playing, especially if I'm playing a place I haven't played before, if I'm playing a bigger stage than I'm used to playing, I can sort of be not very present. Like I'm more thinking like, don't forget this line, don't forget this next chord, sort of more analytical. But if I'm in a space where I'm feeling like, oh, I got this locked in muscle memory, then I think that if I was going to say where I'm experiencing it in my body, it really is probably, I don't know how this will sound, but it's really my head. Like my brain just shuts off. I don't think about stuff that I feel like I'm an overthinker in a lot of ways. So all of that just goes away, and it just feels like, yeah, I am here and present, and this is all I have to worry about. And so that is such a nice feeling for me as a person who's constantly just on. Yeah. So I think that's why I love performing and I love making music, is because it just, it grounds me in a way that nothing else really does. So that's probably where I feel is really my brain just like takes a breath, takes a beat. So
I love that and that's exactly what it is for me. Music has been a huge part of my life. From same like you, my mom was in the choir. We went to church. We sang in choir. It was a whole production. We went Wednesday nights, Sunday morning, Sunday nights. We were always in church. We were always singing. And oh my gosh, the music I listened to in church was so depressing. I mean, but my grandmother would get up in church and sing a solo, and I'd be like, oh no, not her again. She had this voice that was like, I can't even describe it, but I would be like almost cringing, like, please, no, 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 don't sing anymore. And
Oh,
I know it was just it was a weird kind of vibrato thing and it was really powerful voice, but I would always sing in the car and I would lean over because it was before seatbelts. I would lean in between the two seats and I would sing in my mom and my brother's ear. And my brother would elbow me and say, get in the back. And my mom would say, Leah, please quit singing. And my grandmother, the same with the crazy voice, she would say, Connie, just let her sing. And so even though she was crazy, both my grandmothers were always super, like they loved me unconditionally and they would listen to my voice, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. So then fast forward to my life, my children's life, same thing. We had music playing in the car. It was a huge part of our trips. We sang to each other. We used to do little skits together and then we would perform them for people, anybody that would watch, singing. And then my son, Seth, he started writing and doing his own music. And for me, it's a place, like you said, of getting out of my brain. It's an escape. In 1 second, I can go from listening to Tumbleweed Town to Most Likely to Be Me, and be in solid tears, and so it moves us. And studies are now showing that they're actually using sound to kill cancer cells, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
It's called histoplexy, I believe.
Okay.
So something like that. So when you say it takes you out of your monkey brain or your thought brain, that's exactly how I feel. And it's gotten me through some really tough times.
Yeah.
Is there a song? I know that was a lot of, this is where I told you, you're supposed to go, Leah.
No, I'm like, this is fascinating. We gotta dive in at some point into that. Maybe not today because we don't have enough time, but yeah, how it impacts cancer cells is fascinating.
Yeah, I will give you the exact, I can't remember what the name of it is, but essentially they're using sound. And I know we used sound in one of the clinics that I managed for pain and whatnot, but they're taking it a step further and using it to kill cancer cells. For me, in my darkest days, there would be a song that would come on that gave me hope.
Yeah.
So in your music that you just released, is there a song that particularly speaks to you that you listen to of yourself where you go, yeah, that's just what I needed today?
I don't actually listen back to it that often. I think because I spend so much time listening to it as I'm making it. But I think that recently, a song that did not get a ton of, it's one of the quieter ones on the record. It's called I Swear I'm Fine. And I wrote it years ago, but every year it still continues to feel super relevant and like, wow, I can't believe I'm still feeling like this. And I think that it applies to literally everyone. It's like we all throughout the day, how are you? Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. All's well. But really, and you really do think like, yeah, really everything's, I guess I'm really good. But then you also kind of aren't, and it's not anybody's fault necessarily. But that song, I think, is a quieter song on the record that I don't know. I came back to it not too long ago and thought, yeah, man, this is still feeling quite relevant for the times and for me. And so I don't know that I listen a lot to any of them in particular, but that one came up kind of recently and is one that has not gotten as much fanfare, I guess. But I was proud to have that one still be relevant.
I'll have to go back and listen to that one again. Your music is so soulful. And like I said, knowing your background, your family, your mamas, I know that soul is there because I know Natalie, and that lady, I'm telling you, she sees things in people that, most people don't see. And, and she's got an intuitiveness. She's something else. When you're not listening or playing your own music, who do you listen to?
Yeah, I listened to recently I listened to the new Casey Musgraves album, which came out not too long ago. So I think that when people ask me like what kind of music I make, I usually say like, oh, kind of like, sort of like Casey Musgraves would be like kind of like that. So I'm always listening to what she's doing. I've also been listening to Josiah and the Bonnevilles. I feel like you would love him. I'm just
Yes, I
gonna,
know.
I'll message that to you.
Yes, I have that on my YouTube music, so I get a lot of the
Yeah.
same music of yours that's similar sounding. Yeah.
Yeah, and he is he's one of my favorites at the moment. So I've been listening to a lot of his music as well. He just put out a new album too. So yeah, I think it's there's a variety. I should make a playlist. I'll send it to you.
Would you please? I would, and if you're okay with it, I'll share it. But I would love to have your
Yeah.
playlist. I have all
Okay,
these
great.
playlists. Racyne, so if there was one of the greats that's no longer with us that you
Oh,
could sit down and have a conversation with, who would it be?
whoa, okay, I don't know. Like music, right?
Yeah, for me,
Yeah,
it
do
would
you
be
have someone? Yeah, you tell
Pat,
yours.
Patsy Cline, hands
Oh,
down,
whoa.
hands down.
I
I loved
love
her.
that.
I listened to her. My mom listened to music and all the greats. And so I still listen to her regularly. Patsy Cline,
I
hands
love
down.
that so much. She'd be on, on 92.5 every Sunday. They did their classic
Yes.
country. Yeah, that's
Yes.
I listened to that every Sunday my entire life. So,
Yes.
yeah, I love Patsy Cline. I think as you were chatting, he was kind of more recent, but Tom Petty is somebody that I love, and like I never got a chance to see because for all the reasons. But Tom Petty is one of those greats for me that I just love everything about what he did. So he's probably
Yeah.
he's up there for me on the list for sure.
Yeah. His music was so unique. It was so unique
Yeah,
in so many
it's
ways.
kind of rocking, but also
Yes.
the songwriting was very fun, and like I just that's my kind of, I love that kind of music. It gets you dancing, but also it's very heartfelt. So
Yeah, absolutely. My goal for you is one of my regions where I do corporate events is Minnesota, as they say. Minnesota. And I was out there, let's see, this last September will be a year in September, and Farm 40 happened to be performing when I was there. And I would love to go there and see you on Farm 40. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Have you know about it?
Yeah. It's a festival. It's a festival, right?
Yeah. They raise money for farming, but essentially they bring in all these, 13 hours essentially of country singers, and maybe not all country, but I saw Neil Young, John Cougar Mellencamp. But you would be a shoo-in at that scene. I mean,
it'd be so fun.
It would be so cool. That's my goal for you. My secret little goal for Racyne on the back end here.
I love that. So we'll put that into the universe.
We're going to put that into the universe. So on that note, we've got about 15 minutes left. Please share with me, like, to this point in your career, what has been a pinnacle for you? Like something that you're like, I never thought that was going to happen. It happened, and I'm still pinching myself going, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, I've had a couple of moments that I've been like very, very excited to have experienced, and that started with, I had entered a couple of songwriting contests across the country over the last couple of years in 2024 and in 2025, and got selected to be a finalist in those contests, and then got to go play the festivals with the other finalists. And I didn't win, but I felt like a winner because I had met these like just incredible people, songwriters from across the country who became my pals really fast. And so I've been able to, I feel like since those contests, one was in Telluride for the Telluride Bluegrass Festival. One was in Lyons, Colorado at the Rocky Mountain Folks Festival. And then last year I got to go to the Kerrville Folk Festival. And all of these are like, they have just super strong communities around them that until I became part of it, I didn't even really know about it. But I'm so glad that I got to go and meet these folks, because since then, just opportunities continue to happen. And part of it is that I've just met all these wonderful people, and they come through, and they, like next week, I'm opening for a gal who I met at one of those places because she's coming through Seattle. And so like, there's just been these little moments of connection that have continued to build my career. And it's not been fast, but it's been slow and steady in a way that, I mean, I could never have anticipated. So I think that those contests and like just being able to meet people who are doing what I'm doing has been really magical. There have been a couple of shows in particular along the way that were really like special. I think one of them, like 2 years ago, I opened for Caitlin Butts, who became, I mean, now she's doing her own headlining stuff, but she was on tour with Lainey Wilson for a while. And like, I didn't know then, you know, I knew I was a big fan of her, but we didn't know that, you know, her career was going to blow up. It's like, I was right there, you know, I was opening for her. And then the next year she's opening for Lainey Wilson and kind of making it in a mainstream kind of way. And so there's just these little connections along the way that have just been sort of like what I've been living for. They're just really wonderful. So I don't know that there's been one pinnacle, but there have just been an accumulation. It's been an accumulation of moments along the way that have felt like, yeah, I can keep doing this. I can keep going because I love it so much. And like, you never know when the next thing is around the corner. So
you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching these interviews going, I got to go check this chick out and see if her music's any good. And then they're like, whoa, Leah, good job. You found our next, I don't even like to say American Idol, but because you're way above American Idol. Like when I listen to you, when I watch you, when I see your mannerisms, you have it.
Oh, thank you.
It.
Thanks.
That you just do. And listen, I know because I watch music, I listen to music for 55 years. It's been a huge part of my life. I can tell you, Kelly watches American Idol all the time. I'm like, oh gosh, now that he's like, come listen to this. I'm like, no, I don't know. That one's not very good. But anyway, you have what it is. And so I want to just touch on music, in my opinion, has changed over the last, I don't know, we've got about 10 minutes. So this could be our last question. Over the last 30 years, right? It used to be all these big conglomerates that were Sony that came in, you signed a label and they owned you, right? Now it's shifted, in my opinion. It's all independent. It's social media has allowed people like, oh gosh, what's not the big guy that sings, not Teddy Swims, but the other one that was in prison.
Jelly Roll?
There you go. Jelly Roll. I always get those two confused.
Yeah.
That thanks to social media, they've blown up. Seth opened for a gentleman named Mercules, who literally got his claim to fame through social media. Talk to me about, is it easier, do you think, now, or is it actually harder to make it?
Yeah, well, I think there's this broader conversation too about nowadays there's not back in when music was, I think back in the old days, back when it was starting.
Back in the old days,
you had these superstars. You had 6 to 10 really well-known artists in each genre. Now there's not so much like these. There are a couple of exceptions, but it's much harder to be a household name in that sense because there are so many people making music. So it's arguably the easiest time ever to make music because you can do it from anywhere and you can reach fans directly. It's also become harder because there's so many people trying to do that and take up that space. And I do think that there is plenty of room for collaboration, and that just because someone is doing well doesn't mean you can't do well. I think that, rising tides lift all boats, but also there is a finite amount of people that you're trying to reach. So there is inherently like a tougher sell with trying to get people to buy into what you're doing. I think that nowadays, it used to be that the music was the product. That's what you were selling. Now I think in this current state, I think the artist is the product, the person, the personality, the look, what you represent, like all of that has such a more profound impact on whether someone's going to be your fan, because music is everywhere all the time. It's more like your business card now and less the product, which I think some artists would disagree with, but I think that that's my current opinion of that, is that people are making great music from everywhere, and now and people take that for granted a bit because it's everywhere. But so the artist has to do a lot more work to convince you to like me, this artist, and listen to my music. Do both. And
I'm sure it does sound different. And I'm sure that closes the walls in a little bit to a certain extent, where you kind of have to, if you're like me, I'm like, when I'm on social media, I'm like, this is who I am. This is my channel. This is what I stand for. This is what I believe in. You can come along or you can not come along.
Right.
For me, I'm 56. It's easy for me to make that decision now. As a younger woman, it was probably a little bit more difficult because I was more worried about being accepted, right? Being loved, being wanted. Now I don't care. I'm like, I don't know why it keeps doing that. Now I don't care. I just do what I want to do. Do you find that you can be you without fear of repercussion or fear of they're not going to like me, they're going to follow me, they're not going to buy my music, or do you care?
I have gotten to the place where I don't really care that much. I've fallen down a bit on my social media presence because it doesn't feel as authentic to me. But I feel like I show up on social media as I am. And I do the same thing on stage. It's very important to me that, like, when you watch me play a song on stage or chat on stage, it's basically like this. I'm still just talking to you. I just, a little bit bigger stakes. But I feel like I'm pretty good about showing up as myself. It's just that I don't always want to be on there all the time. So I have to get myself to be like, oh yeah, I'm like, I should probably put this on social media. So I don't have as much of a hard time, but when I started out, I did. I really wanted people to really just like it right away. And now I've kind of been making music in a way that for long enough now, and in a way now that I'm excited about, that I don't need everyone all the time to like what I'm doing. Yeah.
That's such a beautiful place. And I bet if you're like me, when you reach that place, it's almost like its own inner freedom where you're like, totally. I can do whatever I want and I don't care. You don't affect what I'm going to do,
Yeah, totally.
And
totally.
I agree with you about social media. Unfortunately, for my business, especially, it's almost like we're being forced into that direction. But I took about a 5-6 day break recently. And I'm like, I don't even want to go back on there. Like, I'm finding less and less joy. I have a lot of joy because I've made a lot of great connections on there and really met some really wonderful people. But at the same token, it can be draining, right? We've got a few minutes left. Racyne, I want to know, before you played basketball, Hannah always had she had a thing that she did before every game. She combed her hair a certain way. She braided. She wore the same socks, the same bright neon shoes. I don't know if you remember those neon basketball shoes.
I remember those shoes. Yeah.
Everybody remembers the shoes, the ones that she would literally stop in the middle of a game and take her finger and like brush off all the little scuff marks. I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. We're in the middle of a game and Hannah's out on center court, like cleaning her shoes. So she had a ritual. Did you have a ritual before games? Forgetting that you play collegiate basketball. Way to go. Willamette and Smarty Pants. They call Willamette the Harvard of the East Coast. It's the Ivy League of the West Coast. I mean, I don't know if you knew that.
I did know that. I think they said that in the recruiting.
I'm sure they did.
Recruitment. Yeah. I don't remember my rituals from basketball early on. I know that I did I think that I did all the same things. Your hair had to be a very specific way. Your socks had to be just right. But I can't think of anything in particular that was super unique. And then now, like for shows and stuff and for gigs, even now, I don't have a ton of rituals because as one of my songs says in my record, I'm always running a little bit late to things. So I usually am like, okay, time to go. Got to get right on there. So it is something that I was talking with a bandmate about recently. I was like, we should probably have some sort of pre-show ritual. If I can get my stuff together, like call time for the ritual this time, I'll be there. I've never been late, but I've always been just almost late to like, So I'll have to work on my rituals.
Well, maybe your ritual is just that you're there,
Yeah, you're there and you're on time and you didn't think you were going to be on time, but you are, and you're going to make it happen and it works out just fine. That's the ritual. That's the adrenaline rush that we need.
Well, I mean, it's what brings the thinking clear. It's what makes you perform. I mean, there's nothing about a little adrenaline that didn't help me on the basketball court. I loved it. I was at high school. I played high school basketball. My banner is hanging in the gym still. I actually also was recruited to play collegiate basketball, but then things got in the way and other choices were made, and I ended up not. I played for part of a season and said, I don't want to do this. But at OIT, at Oregon Tech, or Oregon, it was Oregon Technology Institute. When my dad, but then obviously when my dad was little or in high school, college, it was OTI, and then it changed to OIT. So that's where I went to school and played. I think, did Natalie go there as well? Can't remember.
No, but my dad did.
Your dad, okay.
My dad was at OIT. Yeah, he was a wrestler there when they had wrestling.
Oh, no, that's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right. This is all coming back to me now.
All coming back.
Well, I know we could sit and just reminisce for hours. We'll have to do this again. I don't know if we ever went live on Instagram. For those of you listening, Racyne is going to be in and around the Washington area throughout this next month. Please check out her website, racyneparker.com. You can also buy her albums, listen to her music on all of the things, YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple. She's going to be in her hometown, our hometown in Klamath Falls at the end of the month. But really, truly, Racyne, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I'll also be in Denver and Wyoming
that's right.
next week. If you are happening to swing on by, you can come through. But otherwise, no, I don't have much else to add. I hope to see some folks down the road, and I hope to see you down the road soon. We'll run into each other in a coffee shop, I'm sure.
No, we're going to run into each other on those horses at your family's house. That's right.
Okay, that sounds
I'll meet
good.
You there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great rest of your day.
You too, Racyne. Thank you so much.